India 43. William, show me routine at 1663 Lawrence Avenue. Code enforcement, anybody here?
The property at 1663 Lawrence, like so many of our properties, was like a ship floating at sea with nobody steering, nobody driving. It was this portrait of hopelessness, sitting in the midst of a neighborhood that could otherwise have hope.
The key is trying to figure out exactly how to resolve the house that's been vacant and abandoned, and you can't find the owner, or there is technically no owner.
In Memphis, we are able to take advantage of a statute called the Tennessee Neighborhood Preservation Act that, as of 2018, allows for really anybody with standing, and standing is very broad, to file a lawsuit directly against the property address as a defendant. What we are looking for in Neighborhood Preservation Act litigation is for the property itself to be brought back up to speed.
It focuses whether it's a public nuisance and whether it's posing any significant health or safety risk to the surrounding community.
Here it is. Petition shall file. Once the court makes a determination that the property is a public nuisance, the court requires the owner to produce a plan.
But a lot of cases, if the property owner thumbs his nose at the court or doesn't even show, order of non-compliance potentially will be issued, stating that the owner is unwilling or unable to bring the property back up to code compliance.
The remedy under the Neighborhood Preservation Act is the appointment of a receiver.
When the property gets into a receivership eligibility status, the court, the clinic, the city has basically exhausted every other potential avenue. Mr. Crutcher!
Receivership now gives us this pretty incredible last resort where we're not seeing receivers appointed unless everything else has been tried and the owner has been given opportunity after opportunity, put on notice by city officials, by neighbors, every opportunity to step in and fix the situation. In the case of 1663 Lawrence, you had a receiver come in, take a look at that property, right, walk through, see what was needed, and make a decision that they were going to commit the time and effort to apply for the right to step in and fix that property up. And that is exactly what happened. The uncertain becomes certain with the receivership process.
I had already approved on the Lawrence property the lien, which told the receiver to go notify all interested parties that they have 30 days to pay back the receiver in full. And so they were reporting back that the owners had not satisfied the lien, so now the receiver wants to place the property up for auction.
The minimum bid at auction is the receiver's lien, and the statute requires the receiver's lien to be the receiver's expenses, any back taxes owed, and 10% of the receiver's expenses in the form of a receiver's fee. You compile all those numbers up and you have the minimum bid at auction. If the property goes beyond the minimum bid, then any potential excess proceeds goes to the property owner. The court is happy because another property is resolved. The city's happy because there's another property generating new income for the city.
If there is not a bid at the receiver's auction, either because there's not a minimum bid amount or there are no bids, then the Neighborhood Preservation Act authorizes the court to issue a receiver's deed. And the receiver's deed is like any other deed. It gives the receiver ultimate title to that property, and the receiver becomes owner of that property. But only after that entire process would the receiver actually take title to the property.
The ideal receiver also, more than anything else, is powering the communities, then in turn build better, safer, cleaner neighborhoods.
Sometimes I get lost in the operations of this work for sure, but when the next door neighbor comes out and thanks us for the work that we've done, it reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's to provide solutions to these communities that live next door to these problem properties.
It took figuring out the story, it took figuring out the players, it took focusing on that property for that property, not anything else. And once that happened, we were able to put it back on a path to rebirth.